they told you vitamin D prevents rickets. What they left out is that the latest 2025 research shows deficiency doesn't just hurt your bones. It can actually triple your risk of dying early. That's a bigger risk factor than obesity or even high cholesterol. And it's not just about lifespan. New studies link low vitamin D to a sharp rise in dementia, with deficiency increasing risk by up to 25%. Yet the reality is that most office workers are walking around with levels far below what's needed for basic brain health. Fixing this takes less than 3 minutes a day and costs less than your average morning coffee. If you're wondering how a simple protocol can flip your blood work in just 30 days, you're not alone. The vitamin D bombshell. The reality behind vitamin D is more severe than most realize. Recent data from a 2024 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that among nearly 270,000 UK adults, more than half had either a deficiency or an insufficiency. That's not just a minor health blip, it's a widespread problem with serious consequences. Deficiency in vitamin D is now strongly linked to a 19-25% higher risk for all major forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a leading researcher in this field, goes further. She states that people with low vitamin D are facing up to an 80% increased risk of developing dementia, while those who supplement can cut their risk by 40%. These numbers aren't just statistics. They're a wake-up call for anyone spending their days indoors. Vitamin D isn't just about bones. It's a steroid hormone that interacts with more than 5% of your genome, influencing everything from immune defense to brain cell maintenance. The brain is particularly vulnerable. Vitamin D receptors are concentrated in regions responsible for learning, memory, and emotional regulation. When levels drop, neural connections weaken and cognitive performance declines. This isn't just theory. Real-world cases show the difference. Take Sarah, a mid-career software developer. Her blood work showed a vitamin D level of 18 ng/ml, well below the minimum threshold of 30 ng/ml. After 6 weeks of targeted supplementation, her levels rose to 48 ng/ml. She reported sharper memory, improved focus, and no longer needed caffeine to get through the afternoon. The problem traces back to our modern environments. Office buildings block the UVB rays required for vitamin D synthesis, and even sitting near a sunny window does nothing. Glass filters out the very wavelengths we need. Researchers have dubbed this indoor maladaptation syndrome. Our bodies evolved for regular sunlight exposure, but now, even those living in sunny cities like Phoenix show deficiency rates similar to people in Scandinavia. One accountant in Arizona tested at 22 ng/ml, a level lower than many Norwegians during winter. The solution is straightforward and accessible. Just 3 minutes of midday sun on the face, hands, and forearms can generate about 1,000 IU of vitamin D for those in northern climates. With darker skin, or during winter, a daily 5,000 IU supplement, costing about 10 cents per pill, can restore blood levels to normal. The research is clear. Most people who are deficient can achieve sufficiency with this dose, and it's among the most cost-effective interventions available. There are important nuances. Melanin, which gives skin its color, acts as a natural sunscreen. People with darker skin need much longer sun exposure to produce the same amount of vitamin D as those with lighter skin, which helps explain why deficiency rates are higher among certain ethnic groups, even in places with abundant sunshine. Blood testing reveals this pattern repeatedly. Pale-skinned office workers often have higher vitamin D levels than their olive or dark-skinned colleagues, despite similar routines. The impact of vitamin D extends beyond cognition and bones. Sleep clinics have found that people with deficiency experience more nighttime awakenings, up to 23 more per night, because vitamin D helps regulate the conversion of serotonin to melatonin, which governs sleep cycles. Correcting deficiency resolves insomnia for a majority of patients. The immune system also benefits. The Veterans Health Administration found that patients with vitamin D levels over 50 ng/ml had 35% fewer respiratory infections, prompting new recommendations for routine testing and supplementation. For most office workers, the best strategy combines modest sun exposure with targeted supplementation. A midday walk offers sunlight and physical activity, both of which counteract the negative effects of sitting all day. For those unable to get outside, taking vitamin D3 with a meal improves absorption. Retesting after 3 months is recommended for those starting at low levels, while annual checks suffice for those maintaining sufficiency. At the molecular level, vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a vitamin, directly influencing over 200 genes involved in immune regulation, inflammation, and brain function. This broad influence explains why deficiency can manifest as brain fog, frequent illness, poor sleep, and even mood disturbances. Financially, addressing vitamin D deficiency is a bargain. An annual test costs $60.80 without insurance, and a year's supply of high-quality supplements is under $50. Compare that to the cost of even a single urgent care visit or lost productivity from sick days and fatigue. Over decades, maintaining healthy vitamin D levels can save thousands in medical expenses. The key takeaway is that vitamin D is not optional for optimal health. Our modern lifestyles put us at risk, but the fix is simple, inexpensive, and evidence-based. Addressing this single nutrient can transform how you feel, think, and function day to day. Yet, vitamin D is only one piece of the puzzle. There's another mineral just as vital that most people are missing, and its absence can leave your brain running on empty. Magnesium rebellion. Magnesium is often overlooked, yet it quietly supports nearly every major system in the body. Recent research has brought it back into the spotlight, with the 2025 Frontiers in Nutrition study showing a clear link between magnesium depletion and lower levels of the anti-aging protein clotho. In a group of over 11,000 adults, those with higher magnesium depletion scores had significantly lower clotho, suggesting that not getting enough magnesium might accelerate the aging process at a cellular level. This mineral is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions, everything from producing ATP energy in your cells to repairing DNA, synthesizing proteins, and maintaining a stable heart rhythm. It also plays a central role in regulating neurotransmitters, which directly impact mood, memory, and sleep. When magnesium levels drop, these processes start to falter. You might notice brain fog, muscle cramps, or trouble sleeping, but the underlying cause often goes undetected. Symptoms of deficiency are wide-ranging because magnesium is a cofactor for so many reactions. Think of it as a technician responsible for hundreds of machines in a factory. If that technician is missing, the whole operation slows down. Neurons become less efficient, energy dips, and stress tolerance drops. Even mild deficiency can show up as anxiety, headaches, or irregular heartbeats. Different types of magnesium serve specific functions. Magnesium citrate is absorbed well and can help with digestion and constipation. Glycinate is known for calming the nervous system and improving sleep quality. Malate supports energy production, especially for those feeling fatigued. L-threonate is notable for its ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and support cognitive function. Choosing the right type can make a significant difference, depending on your needs. Clinical evidence supports magnesium's impact on both body and mind. Sleep studies have found that people with adequate magnesium fall asleep faster and have fewer nighttime awakenings. Migraine frequency can drop by more than 40% with supplementation. Athletes using magnesium often report less muscle soreness and faster recovery. Dentists have even noticed that patients who grind their teeth at night, a sign of muscle tension, often benefit from magnesium correction. Diet alone is rarely enough. Modern agriculture has depleted magnesium from the soil, so today's vegetables contain much less than they did a century ago. For example, spinach now has a fraction of the magnesium it once did. Nuts and seeds are good sources, but most people would have to eat unrealistic amounts daily to meet their needs. As a result, supplementation has become a practical solution for many. Magnesium supplements are inexpensive and widely available. Magnesium glycinate, for example, costs less than 10 cents per 200 mg dose. In studies, people who added magnesium to their routine often reported more sustained energy and better focus, sometimes eliminating the need for caffeine or energy drinks. Deficiency can present in subtle ways. People might experience more muscle tension, increased anxiety, or even difficulty responding to therapy for mood disorders. Cardiologists sometimes see arrhythmias improve simply by correcting magnesium status before considering medication. Testing for magnesium is tricky, since only about 1% circulates in the blood. The rest is stored in bones and tissues. Red blood cell magnesium tests provide better information, but many healthcare providers treat based on symptoms, especially when several signs of deficiency are present. Several factors can deplete magnesium reserves. Chronic stress, high sugar intake, certain medications, and even sweating during exercise all increase magnesium loss. Absorption also declines with age, so older adults need to be especially mindful. The right dose varies. Those under stress or physically active may need 400-600 mg of elemental magnesium daily, while others do well with 300-400 mg. Taking magnesium with meals can reduce digestive side effects, and splitting the dose between morning and evening helps maintain stable levels. Many people find that taking a calming form like glycinate before bed noticeably improves sleep within a few days. Restoring magnesium is straightforward. Start with 200 mg of magnesium glycinate at bedtime, then gradually increase until you notice improvements in sleep, energy, or muscle relaxation. If digestive issues occur, reduce the dose or consider topical magnesium oil, which is absorbed through the skin. Addressing magnesium deficiency is a simple intervention with wide-reaching effects on health, mood, and cognitive function. For those looking to optimize brain performance, however, there's another supplement that's gaining attention, not for its muscle-building reputation, but for its surprising impact on mental sharpness. Creatine's Brain Boost. Creatine's impact on the brain is emerging as one of the most significant advances in cognitive health research. While it's long been associated with muscle performance, recent studies show its real value may lie in supporting the brain's energy needs during periods of stress, sleep deprivation, and high cognitive demand. A 2025 study involving military personnel found that participants deprived of sleep for 21 hours, then given 25 to 30 grams of creatine, performed better on cognitive tests than their well-rested peers. This isn't just about staving off fatigue, it's about enhancing brain function under pressure. The same effect has been observed in medical students. During finals week, those supplementing with creatine maintained reaction times and working memory scores close to their baseline, while the placebo group saw a steep decline in performance. The difference became most obvious during complex problem-solving tasks, where creatine users completed assignments faster and with fewer errors. The science behind this is straightforward. The brain relies on ATP as its primary fuel, but during periods of intense activity or lack of sleep, mitochondria struggle to keep up with demand. Creatine acts as a rapid energy buffer, donating phosphate groups to regenerate ATP quickly when the usual pathways fall short. This additional reserve allows neurons to keep firing efficiently, especially in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and focus. Dosage is an important consideration. For muscle health, 5 grams daily is standard, but research suggests that cognitive benefits require a higher intake. Brain imaging studies indicate that 10 grams per day, split into 2 doses, can significantly increase creatine levels in the brain within 2 weeks. In acute situations, such as all-night study sessions or high-stakes work projects, protocols using 20 to 25 grams divided into several doses over a day have shown marked improvements in cognitive resilience and executive function. Vegetarians and vegans, who typically have lower baseline creatine stores due to the absence of animal products in their diets, often experience the most pronounced improvements. Supplementation can quickly bring their brain creatine levels up to those seen in omnivores, with corresponding gains in memory and processing speed. In some studies, Vegetarians improved their cognitive test scores more than meat eaters after a period of creatine loading, likely due to the greater difference from their baseline. Safety concerns about creatine have been largely addressed by recent research. A 2025 trial found no evidence that creatine increases hair loss or affects dihydrotestosterone, DHT, levels. Kidney health markers remained stable across numerous trials, even at higher doses. The most common side effect is temporary water retention, which usually resolves after the initial loading phase. From a cost perspective, creatine is accessible. Bulk creatine monohydrate costs just a few cents per gram, and even at higher cognitive doses, a month's supply remains affordable compared to most pharmaceutical options or nootropics. Professionals in high-pressure fields, such as finance and medicine, have adopted creatine for its ability to maintain focus and reduce mental fatigue during long hours. The brain's energy requirements are substantial. It accounts for only 2% of body weight, but uses up to 20% of the body's total energy. Certain neurotransmitters rely on rapid ATP turnover, and creatine supplementation helps maintain these processes during periods of stress. PET scans have demonstrated that the prefrontal cortex, which governs planning and problem-solving, benefits most from increased phosphocreatine stores. Creatine's effects extend to neurodegenerative conditions as well. A 2025 pilot study found that individuals with Alzheimer's disease who took 20 grams of creatine daily showed measurable improvements in memory and orientation. While not a cure, creatine may help preserve cognitive function and slow decline in those with early-stage disease. Protocols for cognitive support differ slightly from those for muscle building. For ongoing mental performance, 10 grams daily for 2 weeks, followed by a maintenance dose of 5 grams, is effective. For acute cognitive stress, 5 grams every 4 hours during the demanding period can provide additional support. Pairing creatine with carbohydrates, such as in oatmeal or a smoothie, can enhance absorption. Creatine's safety and efficacy profile make it an appealing option for those looking to support brain health, especially during periods of high demand or inadequate sleep. Unlike stimulants, it doesn't cause crashes or dependency. Its benefits accumulate gradually as brain stores increase and fade slowly if supplementation is stopped. As the understanding of brain nutrition expands, it's becoming clear that energy is only one piece of the puzzle. The next critical factor is the quality of the building blocks the brain uses to maintain its structure and function, an area where many modern diets fall short, with consequences that rival even the most well-known lifestyle risks. Omega-3 mortality shield. Among the most overlooked nutritional defenses is the omega-3 index, a key marker that, according to new 2025 research, predicts mortality risk as powerfully as smoking. Biostatistical analyses now show that having a low omega-3 index is associated with a risk of early death comparable to smoking 20 cigarettes a day. A high omega-3 index, meanwhile, is linked to a 40% reduction in all-cause mortality and up to 80% lower risk of dementia. This finding places omega-3 status alongside blood pressure and cholesterol in terms of its impact on lifespan and cognitive decline. Modern diet quietly erodes this protective shield. Industrial seed oils and processed foods have pushed omega-6 to omega-3 ratios as high as 20:1, far from the 1:1 balance our physiology evolved to expect. Farmed animal products and factory-farmed fish contain far less omega-3 than wild sources. For example, farmed salmon now provides about 25% less DHA than wild-caught salmon, a difference that matters for brain health and inflammation control. This dietary shift leaves cell membranes more vulnerable to damage and less able to repair, especially in the brain and cardiovascular system. Brain imaging studies illustrate the impact. Individuals with higher omega-3 indexes show thicker cortexes in memory and decision-making regions, as well as better white matter integrity, meaning signals travel more efficiently between brain areas. Functional scans reveal greater blood flow during cognitive tasks in those maintaining optimal omega-3 status. These differences emerge by early adulthood and continue to widen with age, contributing to sharper thinking and slower cognitive decline. In practical terms, omega-3s act as cellular armor against inflammation and oxidative stress. DHA, which makes up about 30% of the brain's structural fat, is especially important for keeping neurons flexible and responsive. Deficiency leads to stiffer nerve cell membranes, slower signal conduction, and reduced synaptic plasticity. Over time, this translates to weaker memory, slower processing speed, and increased vulnerability to neurodegenerative changes. The source of omega-3s matters, but all forms can help raise your index. Wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel provide EPA and DHA in their most bioavailable forms. Fish oil supplements, ideally in triglyceride form, are effective, especially when taken with a meal to boost absorption. Algal oil is a vegan alternative that supplies DHA without ocean contaminants, though it tends to be more expensive per milligram. Krill oil offers phospholipid-bound omega-3s, which may be absorbed even more efficiently, but typically contains less EPA per dose. Consistency is more important than the specific source, as all forms have been shown to improve omega-3 status over time. Mental health benefits are well documented. People with depression consistently show lower DHA and EPA levels, and clinical trials demonstrate that supplementing with 1 to 2 grams of EPA daily can significantly reduce depressive symptoms, sometimes matching the effectiveness of standard medications in mild to moderate cases. Higher omega-3 status is also associated with fewer anxiety symptoms and improved stress resilience, likely due to both anti-inflammatory effects and enhanced neurotransmitter function. For most adults, the goal is straightforward. Aim for an omega-3 index of at least 8%. This typically requires either 2 servings of fatty fish per week or a daily supplement of 500 to 1,000 mg, combined EPA and DHA. Those with higher cardiovascular or mental health risk may benefit from doses up to 2 grams per day, taken with meals for optimal absorption. The American Heart Association and leading researchers, including Dr. Bill Harris, support these guidelines based on evidence from large-scale trials like GISSI and JELIS, which found significant reductions in cardiac events and sudden death with regular omega-3 intake. Testing your omega-3 index is now accessible and affordable, with home kits available for under $50. This test measures EPA and DHA as a percentage of total red blood cell fats, providing a long-term snapshot of your status. Retesting every 6 months is recommended to confirm that your intake is adequate and to adjust your regimen as needed. For most people, noticeable improvements in cognition and mood begin to appear after about 4 months of consistent supplementation, as cell membranes gradually incorporate the new fatty acids. For those seeking to maximize the benefits, combining omega-3 supplementation with other supportive nutrients, such as vitamin E for antioxidant protection and magnesium to assist with fatty acid metabolism, can further enhance cellular health. Regular physical activity also helps concentrate omega-3s in brain tissue, amplifying their protective effects. Building a strong omega-3 foundation is a simple and cost-effective way to protect both mind and body as you age. As research continues to highlight the power of targeted nutrition, it becomes clear that lifestyle choices can rival or even surpass the effects of many medications. Yet, nutrition is only one dimension of brain health. The next layer of defense involves a different approach, one that activates growth and resilience through movement itself. Exercise is nootropic. Exercise isn't just about fitness, it's a direct intervention for brain health. High-intensity interval training, particularly the Norwegian 4x4 protocol, stands out for its effects on cognitive function and neural structure. This protocol involves 4-minute bursts of near-maximal effort, each followed by 4 minutes of low-intensity recovery, repeated 4 times. Recent studies using MRI scans show that adults over 40 who follow this method regularly can increase their hippocampal volume by over 1% per year, effectively reversing the typical age-related decline in this critical memory center. Within 18 months, consistent participants often have hippocampus sizes resembling those of people 5 years younger. The cognitive gains are dose-dependent. 3 sessions per week yield twice the neural growth seen with a single session. Beyond the hippocampus, the 4x4 protocol drives unique cardiovascular and neurological adaptations. Cardiologists report that alternating high-intensity intervals with recovery periods stimulates the growth of new capillaries in both muscles and brain tissue, enhancing blood flow and oxygen delivery. Cerebral blood flow measurements indicate that those practicing 4x4 intervals see a 23% boost in perfusion to memory-related brain regions compared to steady-state cardio. This improved circulation supports neuroplasticity and fosters the development of new neural connections. Clinical comparisons between exercise and medication highlight the potency of this approach. For depression, 3 weekly 4x4 sessions have matched the efficacy of standard antidepressant doses, but with fewer side effects. In adults with attention difficulties, this protocol improved focus as much as low-dose stimulants, with benefits lasting several hours post-exercise. The underlying mechanism centers on brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein essential for neurogenesis and synaptic growth. 1 session of 4x4 training can elevate BDNF more than a full day of moderate exercise. Structural changes are visible on imaging. After 6 months of consistent 4x4 training, participants often show a thicker prefrontal cortex and improved white matter integrity, translating into faster processing speeds and better working memory scores. These adaptations are not limited to young adults. Older individuals who commit to the protocol can achieve similar improvements, though the timeline may extend to 3 months or more for measurable results. Each interval session works as resistance training for the brain. Just as muscles adapt to progressive overload, neural tissue responds to the metabolic and vascular demands of high-intensity intervals. The precise work-to-rest ratio of the 4x4 protocol maximizes oxygen fluctuations without overwhelming the body, providing an optimal stimulus for brain adaptation. Even a minimum of 2 20-minute sessions per week can halt age-related brain volume loss, while 4 sessions maximize neuroplasticity. Adding more than 4 weekly sessions offers diminishing cognitive returns, though cardiovascular benefits may continue to accrue. For those pressed for time, modified versions deliver substantial benefits. 4 cycles of 30-second sprints with 90-second walks yield about 60% of the neural effects of the full protocol in a fraction of the time. Office workers can substitute stair sprints or chair squats. Even 5 30-second bodyweight squats each hour can help maintain BDNF levels comparable to longer workouts. The key is regularity and intensity, rather than access to specialized equipment. Fasting and exercise together further enhance the brain's adaptive response. Completing 4x4 intervals near the end of a fasting window raises BDNF by an additional 40%, likely due to increased ketone availability for neural recovery. Those practicing time-restricted eating may benefit from timing workouts to coincide with this metabolic state. Cost considerations favor exercise over supplements or pharmaceuticals. Gym memberships average around $500 annually, while home routines using bodyweight exercises approach zero cost, yet still deliver most of the cognitive benefits. Unlike medications, exercise requires no prescriptions or insurance approvals. The protocol is particularly effective for knowledge workers and students. Cognitive testing shows that those who exercise before demanding tasks solve problems faster, make fewer errors, and retain more information. Timing matters. Peak cognitive performance occurs 30-90 minutes after a session, making it ideal to schedule important work or study sessions during this window. Adaptation rates differ with age, but the benefits are accessible to all. Younger adults may notice changes in 6 weeks, while older adults might require a few months. Long-term practitioners in their 70s have been shown to maintain hippocampal volumes similar to sedentary individuals 2 decades younger. Activities that require coordination or strategic thinking, such as racket sports, often amplify these cognitive benefits compared to repetitive exercises. Sleep quality also plays a role. Those with consistent sleep patterns experience more pronounced neural growth in response to exercise. Combining regular high-intensity intervals with good sleep hygiene accelerates gains in gray matter and cognitive performance. Tracking progress can be simple. Monthly self-tests, like digit span recall or timed problem-solving, provide feedback on cognitive changes. Physical improvements, such as lower resting heart rate and increased workout capacity, often mirror brain gains. Most people notice better focus, faster recall, and less mental fatigue within weeks of starting. While exercise may seem like a demanding intervention, its effects on brain health are robust, measurable, and accessible. For those interested in further enhancing cognitive resilience, other strategies are gaining attention, some of which require far less physical effort but offer significant brain benefits. Sauna neuroscience. Sauna neuroscience stands out as a compelling example of how simple routines can yield measurable brain benefits. Data from 2025 highlights that regular sauna use is associated with a 65% lower risk of developing dementia. This finding comes from long-term Finnish studies tracking adults for decades, and consistently shows that those who use a sauna multiple times a week experience fewer neurodegenerative conditions than those who rarely or never do. The effect is dose-dependent. People who use a sauna 4 or more times weekly show the greatest preservation of cognitive function. Brain imaging backs this up, revealing that regular heat exposure can increase gray matter density in memory-related areas by roughly 1.5% each year, counteracting the shrinkage typically seen with aging. The biological mechanism centers on heat shock proteins. These are specialized molecules the body produces in response to elevated temperatures. Their main job is to help other proteins maintain proper shape and function, especially under stress. In the brain, this means heat shock proteins can prevent the buildup of misfolded proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases. Blood samples show that a sauna session can boost certain heat shock proteins, such as HSP70, for up to 2 days, providing a window of enhanced cellular protection. Importantly, HSP70 is able to cross into the brain, where it helps repair and maintain neural tissue. Population studies from Finland underscore the broader impact. Regular sauna users have about 28% lower rates of vascular dementia compared to those who are sedentary. This is likely due to improved blood flow in the brain, as heat exposure causes blood vessels to dilate and increases circulation. Post-mortem data even shows that habitual sauna users have fewer microinfarcts, tiny areas of damaged brain tissue caused by poor circulation. The combination of improved vascular health and the activation of protective proteins creates a two-pronged defense against both age-related and vascular cognitive decline. The cost of sauna therapy is relatively low compared to other brain health interventions. A year's worth of access at a gym with a sauna is often less expensive than a few months of high-end supplements. At-home options range from portable infrared tents, which are affordable and fit in small spaces, to traditional wood-fired saunas, which require a larger upfront investment but last for years. Even basic steam sessions in a bathroom can offer some benefits if done consistently. The main factor is regularity, not the specific type of sauna. Sauna use also supports the body's natural detoxification systems. Research shows that sweating in a sauna can help eliminate certain fat-soluble pollutants and heavy metals. While not a total solution for toxin removal, regular sessions contribute to a gradual reduction in the body's burden of substances like BPA, phthalates, lead, and mercury. These effects add another layer of protection, given the links between environmental toxins and cognitive decline. Infrared and traditional saunas differ in how they heat the body, but both have been shown to support brain health. Infrared saunas use lower temperatures and heat the body more directly, making them more comfortable for longer periods and for people with certain health concerns. Traditional saunas operate at higher temperatures and create a more intense cardiovascular workout, raising heart rates to levels similar to moderate exercise. Both types appear to offer similar cognitive benefits if used regularly. Optimal sauna routines balance temperature, duration, and frequency. Research suggests 15 to 20 minutes per session at 160-180 degrees F, 3 times a week, is effective for most adults. Beginners should start with shorter sessions and gradually increase as they acclimate. The key is consistency over time, as the benefits accumulate gradually. Alternating sauna heat with cold exposure, such as a cold shower or plunge, further enhances the brain's adaptive response. This practice, common in Finnish culture, boosts levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein involved in neuroplasticity. The rapid shift between heat and cold stimulates blood vessel flexibility and may encourage the growth of new brain cells. Even without access to a cold plunge, a cool shower can provide a similar effect. Maintenance is straightforward but important, especially for home units. Traditional saunas require periodic wood care and stone replacement, while infrared units need occasional bulb changes and cleaning to prevent mold. Proper upkeep ensures consistent temperatures and reliable performance. The cognitive benefits of sauna use tend to emerge over time. Many people notice improved sleep within a few weeks, followed by better focus and memory after a few months. Long-term users often perform on cognitive tests at levels similar to people several years younger. Unlike medications, sauna use does not lead to tolerance. The effects persist and even compound with regular use. Combining sauna sessions with other lifestyle interventions can amplify results. Using the sauna after exercise extends the boost in BDNF and supports recovery. Supplementing with magnesium after sweating helps replace lost electrolytes and prevents cramps. Adding omega-3s to the routine supports anti-inflammatory pathways, creating a more robust defense against cognitive decline. Safety is generally straightforward. Most healthy adults tolerate sauna use well if they stay hydrated and listen to their bodies. Those with certain heart conditions or who are pregnant should consult a doctor before starting regular sessions. Most adverse events occur when people combine sauna use with alcohol, which should be avoided. Tracking progress can be as simple as noting improvements in sleep, memory, and overall mental clarity. Simple at-home cognitive tests, such as word recall or reaction time, can help monitor changes over time. Many users report feeling mentally sharper and more resilient to stress after establishing a consistent sauna routine. As the evidence continues to build, sauna use is gaining recognition as a practical, low-cost strategy for preserving brain health. It addresses multiple pathways involved in cognitive aging, from vascular function to protein maintenance to detoxification. While sauna routines can buffer the effects of aging, another factor, often overlooked, can undermine even the best protocols if not addressed. Sleep deprivation fallout. Sleep deprivation remains one of the most underestimated threats to cognitive performance and long-term brain health. Recent workforce surveys show that over 60% of corporate employees now average less than 6 hours of sleep per night. This chronic shortfall doesn't just leave people feeling tired. It produces impairments in attention, memory, and decision-making that rival the effects of being legally intoxicated. Neuroimaging confirms that after a single night of poor sleep, the brain's prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for judgment and self-control, shows activity patterns indistinguishable from those seen after consuming alcohol. Central to the brain's overnight recovery is the glymphatic system, a network that acts as the brain's cleaning crew. This system becomes most active during deep, uninterrupted sleep, flushing out metabolic waste including amyloid proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. When sleep is cut short or fragmented, this cleanup process is left incomplete. Over time, the buildup of metabolic debris can interfere with neural communication and set the stage for cognitive decline. MRI studies show that people who consistently get 7 or more hours of sleep maintain sharper boundaries between gray and white matter and preserve hippocampal volume, while those with chronic sleep restriction show accelerated loss of brain tissue and slower information processing. The effects of sleep deprivation are cumulative. Each night of insufficient sleep chips away at cognitive capacity, with deficits compounding across consecutive nights. Problem-solving slows, error rates climb, and emotional regulation weakens. In students, pulling all-nighters during exams results in measurable shrinkage of the hippocampus, the brain's memory hub, an effect that can persist even after several nights of recovery sleep. Professionals who routinely sacrifice sleep for work deadlines often notice a steady decline in focus, creativity, and resilience to stress. Most adults function best with 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. While a small percentage can thrive on less due to genetic factors, the majority experience diminishing returns outside this range. It's not just about the number of hours spent in bed, but the quality and continuity of sleep cycles. Deep and REM sleep are particularly critical for memory consolidation, emotional balance, and clearing neural waste. Wearable sleep trackers and advanced home monitors can now provide detailed insights into sleep architecture, highlighting patterns of disruption that might otherwise go unnoticed. Lifestyle factors play a significant role in sleep quality. Caffeine, for instance, lingers in the system for hours. Consuming it even in the afternoon can reduce deep sleep and fragment rest. Many people are unaware of the subtle impact until they eliminate caffeine for a few weeks and notice improved sleep depth. Environmental adjustments also make a difference. Keeping the bedroom cool, dark, and quiet, using white noise to mask disturbances, and minimizing exposure to screens before bed all support better sleep onset and maintenance. A structured 2-week sleep restoration protocol can help reverse the effects of chronic deprivation. This approach starts with setting a consistent wake time, regardless of bedtime, to anchor circadian rhythms. Gradually adjusting bedtime by small increments and avoiding screens or bright lights in the evening further supports natural melatonin production. Many people report improved focus, mood, and problem-solving ability within 10 days of following these steps, though full recovery from long-term sleep debt may take several weeks. Corporate experiments reinforce the tangible benefits of prioritizing sleep. Companies that delayed start times or discouraged late-night emails saw measurable improvements in meeting productivity, reduced sick days, and higher financial performance among employees. In shift workers, strategic exposure to bright light during work hours and minimizing light exposure during commutes helped maintain alertness and reduce accident rates. REM sleep, essential for emotional processing and creativity, is especially sensitive to modern disruptions. Exposure to electronic devices, Wi-Fi signals, or alcohol in the evening can sharply reduce REM cycles, even when total sleep time appears adequate. Protecting this phase of sleep is crucial for maintaining mental flexibility and resilience. Personalized bedtime routines, such as reading, light stretching, or meditation, can ease the transition to sleep. While luxury sleep aids may help some, the most effective strategies remain simple: regular schedules, reduced evening screen time, and mindful caffeine use. Supplementation, such as magnesium glycinate or low-dose melatonin when appropriate, can offer additional support, but should be timed carefully to avoid interfering with natural rhythms. Morning exposure to sunlight helps reset the body's internal clock, supporting healthy sleep patterns for the following night. Even small changes, like eating breakfast near a window or taking a short walk outdoors, can have a significant effect on sleep quality and duration. Long-term data underscores the importance of consistent, high-quality sleep for brain health. Adults who maintain regular sleep patterns into midlife show dramatically lower rates of dementia and cognitive decline later on. In many cases, improving sleep proves more effective than any supplement or cognitive training for preserving memory and mental clarity. As sleep forms the foundation for cognitive performance, the search for additional ways to enhance brain function continues. Some professionals are turning to nutritional strategies that promise sharper thinking and faster problem-solving, especially when paired with a well-rested brain. Ketogenic cognition. One nutritional approach gaining traction among professionals is the ketogenic diet and its effect on cognition. Recent studies in 2025 show that individuals following a ketogenic diet complete complex problem-solving tasks nearly 30% faster than those consuming a typical high-carbohydrate diet. The driving force behind this improvement is beta-hydroxybutyrate, or BHB, a ketone body that serves as an efficient alternative fuel for the brain. Unlike glucose, which can produce more oxidative stress as a byproduct, BHB provides a cleaner energy source, resulting in higher ATP production and less cellular waste. Imaging studies indicate that ketone metabolism increases blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive function and sustained attention. This metabolic shift is especially noticeable during cognitive testing. Before adapting to ketosis, individuals often experience slower reaction times and diminished focus. However, after several weeks of sustained ketosis, these same individuals not only recover their baseline mental speed, but often surpass it. Memory retention improves as well. Learners on a ketogenic protocol retain more information from training sessions, and their recall remains more stable over time. The effect is similar to switching a car from gasoline to a more efficient hybrid system, where the power delivery is smoother and less prone to fluctuations. At the cellular level, ketones like BHB act as signaling molecules. They stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that promotes the growth of new neurons and strengthens connections between existing ones. This enhances neuroplasticity, which underpins learning and memory. Ketones also help shield neurons from oxidative damage by supporting glutathione production, the brain's primary antioxidant. As a result, people following a ketogenic diet often report fewer episodes of brain fog and steadier energy throughout the day, even when sleep or caffeine intake remains unchanged. Dietary patterns that emphasize high carbohydrate intake can trigger cycles of rapid blood sugar and insulin spikes, often followed by mental fatigue. In contrast, ketogenic meals avoid these fluctuations, helping to maintain consistent alertness. For example, teams who switched to low-carb, high-fat lunches made significantly fewer calculation errors during afternoon work sessions. The underlying mechanism involves less serotonin-driven drowsiness after meals, which is common when carbohydrate intake is high. For many professionals, strict ketogenic adherence is challenging. A practical solution involves cycling, maintaining a low-carb, high-fat diet during the workweek, and allowing moderate carbohydrate intake on weekends. This approach provides most of the cognitive benefits of ketosis while supporting flexibility for social events and physical activity. Research suggests that keeping daily carbohydrates below 50 grams is sufficient for most people to maintain ketosis, though individual tolerance varies. Vegetarian versions of the ketogenic diet are possible with careful planning. Plant-based fats from avocados, nuts, seeds, and coconut oil, combined with protein sources like tempeh and dairy, can support ketosis. The main challenge is meeting electrolyte needs and maintaining adequate micronutrient intake. Foods like avocados and leafy greens help cover potassium requirements, while magnesium supplementation may be necessary for some. The transition into ketosis, often called the keto adaptation phase, can bring temporary discomfort, fatigue, headaches, and reduced mental clarity, sometimes referred to as the keto flu. These symptoms generally resolve within a week or two. Increasing sodium, potassium, and magnesium intake during this period can help ease symptoms and support hydration. Bone broth, electrolyte supplements, and mineral-rich foods are common strategies for managing this adjustment. Cost-wise, the ketogenic diet can be adapted to fit a range of budgets. While some specialty products are expensive, the foundation relies on accessible foods like eggs, fatty meats, and seasonal vegetables. Many people find that the increased satiety from high-fat meals naturally reduces snacking and overall food expenditures. A structured 30-day ketogenic protocol for cognitive enhancement typically begins with a week focused on electrolyte balance and carbohydrate restriction. The second week may introduce intermittent fasting to accelerate ketone production. By the third and fourth weeks, most individuals settle into a macronutrient ratio of about 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbohydrates, with blood ketone levels between 1.5 and 3 mmol/L supporting optimal cognitive outcomes. Benefits tend to emerge in stages. Improved focus and energy in the first week, faster problem-solving and memory improvements in subsequent weeks, and measurable changes in neural efficiency by the end of the month. Workplaces are beginning to take notice. Some companies now offer ketogenic meal options, reporting fewer afternoon productivity slumps and improved focus among employees. In high-pressure fields such as finance and technology, individuals on a ketogenic diet have demonstrated faster data analysis and more consistent performance during demanding periods. Ketones also influence neurotransmitter activity, increasing GABA for a calming effect and supporting dopamine pathways that sustain motivation. This combination creates a mental state described as relaxed alertness, where focus and calm coexist. Beyond immediate cognitive gains, long-term adherence to a ketogenic diet may reduce the buildup of amyloid plaques and support antioxidant defenses in the brain, potentially delaying age-related cognitive decline. Individual responses to the ketogenic diet vary, and it is not universally suitable. Some people benefit from simply reducing carbohydrate intake rather than maintaining strict ketosis. Regular monitoring of ketone levels and attention to how the diet affects energy, mood, and cognitive performance can help guide adjustments for best results. Optimizing brain metabolism through diet offers meaningful benefits, but it is only one aspect of a broader strategy for cognitive resilience. As new research reveals, unexpected environmental factors can have profound effects on brain health, sometimes in ways that dietary change alone cannot address. Microplastic brain invasion. Mounting evidence now points to microplastics as a persistent and direct threat to brain health. In 2025, an autopsy study detected microplastics in 90% of brains examined, with particles embedded in regions responsible for memory and emotion. These particles are not passive bystanders. They can cross the blood-brain barrier, normally the brain's primary defense, by mimicking cholesterol molecules, slipping through lipid membranes, and gaining access to neural tissue. Once inside, they activate immune responses designed for pathogens, leading to chronic, low-level inflammation that gradually damages neurons. Correlations between microplastic exposure and neurodegenerative disease rates are difficult to ignore. Regions with high environmental plastic pollution report Alzheimer's diagnoses at rates 45% above the national average. Parkinson's disease clusters appear more frequently near plastic manufacturing sites, sometimes at triple the rate of surrounding areas. While these patterns do not confirm causation, they highlight a troubling association, especially since microplastics often carry additional toxins, like phthalates and bisphenols, that can amplify neurological harm. Generational data show that microplastic accumulation is accelerating. Brains from the silent generation averaged just 2 plastic particles per gram of tissue. Baby boomers showed 5, Gen X 12, and millennials already reach 18 particles per gram in their 30s. Projections suggest that Gen Z may reach 30 particles by middle age if current trends continue. This trajectory raises concerns about the future burden of neurodegenerative conditions and underscores the importance of early intervention. The impact of microplastics is not just chemical, but also physical. Once lodged in the brain, these particles can disrupt electrical signaling, potentially interfering with how neurons communicate. Animal studies provide a window into these effects. Rats exposed to microplastics learn tasks up to 30% slower, and their neurons display fewer dendritic branches, which are crucial for information processing. While human studies are ongoing, the presence of foreign material embedded in neural tissue is enough to warrant caution. Everyday exposure to microplastics comes from sources that often go unnoticed. For example, a single tea bag can release billions of microplastic particles into hot water. Synthetic clothing sheds fibers during washing. These fibers can bypass water treatment and enter the body through drinking water or inhalation. Even opening plastic packaging can release airborne particles, which may travel directly to the brain via the olfactory nerves in the nose. On average, office workers inhale enough microplastics each day to coat a credit card's surface over the course of a year. Reducing exposure requires practical steps. Water filtration is one of the most effective measures. Basic pitcher filters remove about half of microplastics, while reverse osmosis systems eliminate nearly all, though they require regular maintenance. Combining activated carbon profilters with ceramic microfilters can capture particles down to 0.5 microns without stripping beneficial minerals. These systems, while not perfect, significantly lower the number of particles reaching the body. Supportive strategies focus on limiting inflammation and supporting detoxification. Modified citrus pectin may help trap microplastics in the gut, reducing absorption. Omega-3 fatty acids can help counteract inflammation in brain tissue, while NAC supplements boost glutathione, a key antioxidant that may neutralize some of the oxidative stress caused by plastic exposure. These approaches do not remove embedded particles, but may help minimize ongoing harm from new exposures. Testing for microplastic burden is becoming more accessible. Home urine kits can detect plastic metabolites, providing a general sense of body burden, while more advanced blood tests can identify specific types of plastic fragments. These tools are expensive, but offer a way to track progress when implementing exposure reduction strategies. A phased 21-day reduction plan can help make changes manageable. Start by replacing plastic food containers with glass or stainless steel, installing a quality water filter, and switching to loose-leaf tea. The following week, focus on natural fiber clothing and add washing machine filters to catch synthetic fibers. In the final week, transition household products to powder or bar forms and swap out synthetic sponges for natural alternatives. These steps target ingestion, inhalation, and skin absorption, collectively reducing measurable plastic metabolites by up to 60% in many cases. Workplaces and schools present additional challenges. Avoiding thermal paper receipts, advocating for hard flooring over carpet, and choosing digital documents instead of printed ones can all reduce exposure. For children, stainless steel lunchboxes, wooden toys, and natural fiber carpets in play areas help limit accumulation during critical developmental periods. Dietary choices also influence microplastic intake. Selecting unpackaged produce, peeling fruits and vegetables, and opting for grass-fed meats over farmed fish can reduce ingestion. While some contamination remains unavoidable, these adjustments make a measurable difference over time. Generational patterns suggest that time matters. Those with lower lifetime exposure may experience slower progression of related effects. For younger individuals, proactive steps now can prevent higher burdens later. While no strategy eliminates risk entirely, reducing exposure remains a practical and meaningful way to protect brain health. Ongoing vigilance is key. Regularly vacuuming with HEPA filters, maintaining water filters, and retesting exposure levels every 6 months help ensure that reductions are sustained. As research continues to clarify the neurological risks associated with microplastics, consistent efforts to limit intake become even more important. Environmental contaminants are only one factor shaping long-term brain health. Other exposures, especially those found in everyday settings, are now drawing similar scrutiny for their potential to disrupt neurological function. Pesticide brain impact. Pesticides have become a silent but significant factor shaping the landscape of brain health. Data from 2025 highlights a striking pattern. People living near golf courses, where pesticides are applied routinely for turf maintenance, face a 126% higher risk of developing Parkinson's disease than the general population. This risk doesn't stop at the course boundary. Pesticide drift and runoff mean that entire neighborhoods can be exposed, often without realizing it. The chemicals in question do far more than eliminate pests. They disrupt human neurons at the mitochondrial level, interfering with the energy production that keeps brain cells functioning. Among agricultural workers, chronic exposure leads to measurable cognitive decline, with memory test scores falling well below those of people in pesticide-free environments. The difference between organic and conventional diets is not just theoretical. Testing shows that 70% of conventional produce carries detectable pesticide residues, while organic samples show only 6%. Children who switch to organic diets see rapid drops in urinary pesticide metabolites, sometimes within just 2 days. Adults often notice improved focus and fewer headaches after making the same change. For some, the shift is dramatic. Spinach purchased from a conventional source can contain more neurotoxic compounds than beneficial nutrients. These exposures accumulate over time, becoming part of the background risk for cognitive decline. Pesticides enter the brain through several pathways. Some cross the blood-brain barrier directly, while others trigger inflammation that weakens this crucial filter. Certain organophosphate pesticides inhibit acetylcholinesterase, the enzyme responsible for breaking down acetylcholine. This disrupts normal neurotransmission, resulting in abnormal spikes and crashes in brain signaling. The effects are not subtle. Farm workers handling these chemicals can experience slower reaction times within hours of exposure. Over years, these disruptions can set the stage for neurodegenerative diseases. Protecting the brain starts with supporting the body's own detoxification systems. Cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, provide sulforaphane, which enhances the liver's ability to process and eliminate pesticides. Hydration is essential. Drinking enough water helps flush pesticide metabolites before they can accumulate in tissues. Sauna sessions can mobilize fat-soluble toxins, encouraging their removal through sweat. While these strategies can't reverse existing neurological changes, they help prevent further buildup and may slow the progression of harm. Water filtration is another key defense. Basic carbon filters remove about half of common agricultural chemicals, while reverse osmosis systems can eliminate up to 95%. The most effective approach combines several technologies. Filters certified to reduce pesticides under NSF ANSI standards offer reliable protection. For those using well water near farmland, regular testing is critical to ensure contaminants are kept in check. Produce washing techniques make a tangible difference. Soaking fruits and vegetables in a baking soda solution for several minutes can remove up to 96% of surface pesticides, especially from items like apples. Leafy greens benefit from submersion and gentle agitation, while firm produce responds well to scrubbing with a brush. Peeling can help with some fruits, though it may reduce nutrient content. These methods don't reach systemic pesticides absorbed during growth, but they significantly reduce overall residue. Cost remains a concern for many, but the economic argument for organic food becomes clearer when long-term health is considered. Organic groceries may cost more at checkout, but avoiding the medical expenses associated with neurodegenerative diseases can offset this difference over time. Each 10% increase in organic food intake is linked to a 13% lower risk of neurodegenerative disease. For those on a budget, prioritizing organic versions of the most contaminated produce, the Dirty Dozen, offers the greatest return on investment. A weekly protocol for reducing pesticide exposure can make the process manageable. Washing and prepping produce in advance, choosing organic for high-risk items, supporting detoxification through diet and hydration, maintaining water filters, and sourcing from trusted local farms each play a part. Even small changes, like selecting organic for just a few key foods or improving how produce is washed, can cut pesticide intake by half. The benefits of these interventions accumulate gradually. Improved sleep quality is often the first change people notice, followed by better focus and memory over several weeks. Over time, those who consistently reduce pesticide exposure tend to show slower cognitive aging than those with ongoing high exposure. Children, pregnant women, and older adults are especially vulnerable and may benefit most from strict reduction strategies, given their increased susceptibility to neurotoxic effects. Work environments also require attention. Agricultural workers need protective gear and clear protocols for handling chemicals, while office workers near treated landscapes can request advance notice before spraying. Even in non-agricultural settings, awareness and advocacy for reduced pesticide use can lower risk for entire communities. Scientific understanding of pesticide neurotoxicity continues to evolve, but the direction is clear. Reducing exposure is a practical, evidence-based step for protecting brain health. Even incremental improvements, washing produce more thoroughly, switching a few items to organic, or improving water filtration, make a measurable difference. These choices, repeated week after week, build a foundation for cognitive resilience. As the focus shifts from environmental threats to the factors that help preserve and even enhance brain health, it becomes clear that our daily choices, what we eat, how we live, and who we connect with, shape our cognitive future in profound ways. Social connection RX. Among interventions that support cognitive health, few are as consistently overlooked as social connection. The evidence is clear. Regular, meaningful interaction with others is not just a comfort, it's a critical factor in maintaining brain health as we age. A 2025 longitudinal study following 10,000 adults found that persistent loneliness accelerates brain aging by up to 4 years, with MRI scans showing faster shrinkage of the hippocampus and thinning of the prefrontal cortex in those lacking regular social engagement. These brain changes are not abstract. Isolated individuals in the study performed significantly worse on memory and problem-solving tasks, with inflammation markers elevated and brain-derived neurotrophic factor levels consistently lower than those of their socially connected peers. The biological underpinnings of these findings are becoming clearer. Oxytocin, a hormone released during positive social interactions, acts as a neuroprotective agent. It strengthens the connections between neurons, supports neuroplasticity, and reduces the damaging effects of chronic stress hormones like cortisol. Functional imaging shows that people who experience regular, positive social engagement have more robust activity in the prefrontal cortex, not just during social situations, but even when working alone afterward. This suggests that the benefits of social connection extend well beyond the moment, providing a kind of cognitive reserve that helps buffer against the effects of stress and aging. Comparative studies in older adults highlight the scale of these effects. Those with regular social activities, such as weekly group meetings or consistent visits with friends, maintain cognitive performance equivalent to people several years younger. They retain sharper memory, faster processing speed, and greater verbal fluency. In contrast, individuals with minimal social engagement show steeper declines, with autopsy data revealing higher burdens of amyloid plaques even when genetic risk is similar. The difference is not simply in the number of interactions, but in their quality and frequency. The distinction between digital and in-person connection is also significant. While video calls and messaging can help maintain contact, they do not fully substitute for the richness of face-to-face interaction. Physical presence brings a depth of nonverbal communication, eye contact, touch, shared laughter, that digital formats rarely replicate. These elements stimulate areas of the brain involved in empathy and emotional regulation. Even simple gestures, like a handshake or a shared meal, activate neural pathways that remain dormant during digital exchanges. Intentionality is key to maximizing the cognitive benefits of social connection. Structured group activities, such as book clubs, classes, or volunteer work, consistently outperform unstructured or passive interactions. Activities that combine novelty with emotional depth, trying new experiences with familiar people, yield the strongest neurological responses. Consistency matters as well. Regular, predictable interactions, such as neighborhood walking groups or weekly volunteering, provide more reliable cognitive protection than sporadic or infrequent gatherings. Community involvement adds another layer of support. Volunteering, in particular, has been shown to enhance problem-solving flexibility and emotional regulation beyond what is seen with purely recreational social activities. The combination of shared purpose and social engagement appears to stimulate different neural circuits, producing unique cognitive benefits. Intergenerational contact, such as mentoring or spending time with people of different ages, further broadens the scope of stimulation, activating distinct areas of the brain and fostering emotional resilience. Practical steps for strengthening social health include scheduling regular in-person meetings, joining structured group activities, volunteering, and designating device-free time for face-to-face connection. Tracking the quality of interactions can help identify which relationships are most energizing and mentally rewarding. Many people find that a mix of long-standing friendships and new acquaintances provides the most comprehensive cognitive stimulation. Transitioning from predominantly digital interaction to more in-person engagement often requires an adjustment period. Initial discomfort with direct eye contact or unstructured conversation is common, especially for those accustomed to constant digital communication. However, these challenges typically diminish within a few weeks as the brain readjusts to richer social cues and more complex interactions. Workplace strategies can also play a role. Encouraging walking meetings, creating shared social spaces, and setting aside time for informal conversation can help integrate social connection into daily routines, even for those with demanding schedules. Organizations that promote regular, meaningful interaction among employees report higher focus, lower burnout, and better overall cognitive performance. Measurement tools for social health are evolving, with wearable devices and smartphone apps now able to track patterns of interaction and engagement. While these technologies offer useful feedback, subjective experience remains the best guide. Interactions that leave you feeling mentally sharper and emotionally balanced are likely providing genuine cognitive benefit. The cumulative impact of maintaining strong social bonds is substantial. Long-term studies show that adults with robust social networks remain independent longer, have a lower risk of dementia, and often retain mental acuity far beyond what would be expected for their age. Even small increases in meaningful social activity, sustained over time, can produce measurable improvements in memory and attention. As social connection continues to prove its value for brain health, it's important to consider how other aspects of modern life may undermine these benefits. Not all influences are positive. Some everyday habits, especially those involving technology, can quietly erode the very cognitive resilience that social engagement helps to build. Blue light betrayal. One of the most pervasive shifts in daily life over the last decade has been the rise of screen exposure well into the evening. The consequences of this shift are becoming impossible to ignore, especially when it comes to the effects of blue light on the brain. Blue light, particularly in the 450 to 480 nanometer range, is emitted in high concentrations by digital devices. While this wavelength is useful during the day for boosting alertness and mood, its presence at night disrupts the body's natural sleep-wake cycle by suppressing melatonin production, sometimes by as much as 85%. This disruption doesn't just push bedtime later, it fragments sleep, reduces time spent in deep and REM stages, and sets the stage for cognitive decline. Adults who average 4 or more hours of evening screen time now face triple the risk of measurable cognitive decline compared to those who limit digital exposure at night. Before screens became ubiquitous, evening routines were shaped by gradual transitions from daylight to dim firelight or candlelight. Human sleep patterns naturally followed these cues, supporting restorative cycles. Today, abrupt exposure to high-intensity blue light from phones, tablets, and televisions keeps the brain locked in a state of daytime alertness. Sleep studies show that habitual evening device users lose up to 22% of their REM sleep and experience delays in deep sleep onset by an average of 43 minutes. These changes in sleep architecture erode memory consolidation and emotional regulation, and over time, they accelerate age-related cognitive changes. The impact of blue light extends beyond sleep. Retinal specialists report that chronic exposure to screens can lead to thinning of the macular retinal nerve fiber layer, even in people as young as their mid-30s. This thinning correlates with reduced contrast sensitivity and color discrimination, and the retinal changes seen in heavy screen users often resemble those of individuals 2 decades older. The risk is not limited to vision. It points to a broader pattern of accelerated neural aging. Cognitively, the effects are tangible. Functional MRI scans reveal decreased connectivity in the brain's default mode network after just 2 hours of evening screen use. Memory tests show that subjects exposed to screen light before bed recall 18% less information the next day, and tasks requiring executive function take 15% longer to complete. The analogy of Netflix as brain bleach is not far off. Prolonged blue light exposure dulls mental sharpness, slows reaction time, and makes it harder to focus. Protective strategies are available but vary in effectiveness. High-quality blue light blocking lenses, especially those with amber tints that filter wavelengths below 530 nanometers, offer the most robust melatonin protection. In contrast, clear lenses marketed as blue blockers often filter only a fraction of harmful light. Computer glasses that block over 90% of blue light, when used consistently in the evening, can help preserve sleep quality and reduce eye strain. Timing and behavioral strategies also matter. Switching all screens to night mode by early evening eliminates about 60% of problematic blue wavelengths. Dimming device brightness in line with sunset, using warm-toned lighting after dinner, and establishing an 8 p.m. digital curfew can all help restore natural melatonin rhythms. These adjustments are most effective when combined. Technical solutions alone rarely match the benefits of a broader shift in evening habits. Optimizing the environment further supports healthy sleep. Replacing harsh overhead lights with dimmable, warm white bulbs below 3000 K after dusk, using red night lights for nighttime bathroom trips, and installing blackout curtains to keep the bedroom dark all reinforce circadian cues. Sunrise alarm clocks can help maintain a natural wake schedule without abrupt artificial light in the morning. Alternative evening activities can provide cognitive engagement without the drawbacks of screens. Listening to audiobooks, for instance, activates different neural pathways than visual reading and increases alpha brainwave activity, which supports sleep onset. Hands-on hobbies like knitting or assembling puzzles help relax the mind and have been shown to improve sleep metrics more than passive television watching. Even gentle stretching routines under low light outperform screen time in promoting restorative sleep. For those looking to make a concrete change, a structured approach such as a 7-day digital sunset protocol can help. This involves gradually reducing screen time in the evening, installing blue light filters, shifting device charging stations out of the bedroom, and building a consistent pre-bed routine centered on non-screen activities. Tracking changes in sleep quality over the week provides immediate feedback and can motivate longer-term habit shifts. The implications extend to workplaces and schools. Employees who use computers after dark benefit from monitor filters that reduce blue emission, and institutions that install amber lighting report better overnight performance and alertness. For students, reducing blue light exposure in the evening has led to improved focus and test performance the following day, prompting some schools to adjust start times to better match adolescent sleep needs. Monitoring progress is straightforward. Keeping a sleep diary, tracking screen-off times, and using apps that report daily screen usage can highlight patterns and identify areas for improvement. Annual eye exams that include macular thickness measurements are wise for those with high screen exposure, and dietary antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin offer some retinal protection when consumed regularly. While total avoidance of screens in the evening is unrealistic for most, keeping pre-bed digital exposure under 4 hours and adopting protective measures can preserve cognitive function and sleep quality. The science is clear. Treating light exposure as an adjustable input, rather than an unavoidable side effect of modern life, is central to maintaining brain health. As awareness of the risks of blue light grows, interest is shifting toward therapies that may not only protect but actively support neural function, using targeted wavelengths of light to enhance memory, focus, and resilience. Red light rescue. Red light therapy, sometimes called photobiomodulation, has emerged as a practical tool for supporting cognitive performance, especially in middle-aged and older adults. In a 2025 study, adults aged 45 to 65 who received red light therapy at a wavelength of 650 nanometers, 3 times per week for 12 weeks, showed a 23% improvement in memory retention. Both short-term recall and long-term memory consolidation improved, and the treatment group outperformed controls by 31% on complex pattern recognition tasks. These gains were not just statistical. Participants reported fewer episodes of forgetting names, misplaced items, and mental fatigue during daily activities. The underlying mechanism is rooted in how specific wavelengths of red light interact with mitochondria inside brain cells. When neural tissue absorbs light in the 600–850 nanometer range, cytochrome C oxidase, a key mitochondrial enzyme, becomes more active. This leads to greater ATP production, with some studies measuring up to a 50% boost in local neural energy output. Functional brain scans after treatment sessions show increased metabolic activity in regions like the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, both critical for learning and memory. Unlike supplements or medications that must cross the blood-brain barrier, red light delivers energy directly to cells, bypassing digestive and circulatory limitations. Objective cognitive testing backs up these findings. In controlled trials, verbal fluency improved by 19% after 8 weeks of consistent therapy, and working memory capacity increased by 28% across different study populations. Notably, the benefits do not disappear when therapy stops. 3 months after the final session, participants retained 60–70% of their peak improvements, suggesting that the effects are durable rather than fleeting. Cost and accessibility make red light therapy appealing compared to many other cognitive interventions. A clinical-grade device suitable for home use costs between $300 and $500 and lasts several years with minimal upkeep. This breaks down to a monthly cost far lower than most branded brain supplements, and home units deliver about 80% of the benefits seen in clinical settings. For those looking to maximize value, selecting devices with an irradiance of 5,100 milliwatts per square centimeter and wavelengths between 630 and 670 nanometers is important. Full scalp exposure is ideal, and FDA-cleared models with published efficacy data are preferable to generic products that lack standardized power output. Effective use depends on consistency rather than intensity. Most research supports 3 sessions per week, each lasting 10 to 15 minutes. Morning treatments are preferable for supporting daytime mental performance, as evening sessions can delay melatonin production and disrupt sleep. The process is straightforward. Position the device 6 to 12 inches from the scalp, target both the forehead and temples to reach the prefrontal cortex, and gradually increase session length as tolerance builds. Mild warmth or tingling is common, but adverse effects are rare. Red light therapy also works well alongside other interventions. When paired with moderate aerobic exercise, it can raise brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF levels, by 40% more than either treatment alone. Using red light after a sauna session may help extend the cellular repair window triggered by heat shock proteins. Some users combine red light sessions with cognitive training, such as memory games or language practice, to further reinforce neural pathway development. These synergies can amplify the benefits, especially for those interested in long-term cognitive resilience. The effects of therapy tend to appear in phases. In the first week, many users notice greater mental clarity and sharper focus. By the 3rd week, memory improvements become more obvious, and after 6 weeks, most participants report sustained gains in recall and processing speed. Unlike stimulants or pharmaceuticals, the improvements are gradual and persist between sessions. Direct comparisons show that red light therapy can match or exceed the effects of some prescription nootropics, but without altering neurotransmitter balance or causing side effects. Athletes and competitive gamers have taken notice as well. Pre-event sessions can improve reaction time and decision-making, while post-training therapy supports recovery by reducing oxidative stress in neural tissue. While clinical devices offer higher power and may treat larger body areas, for most cognitive applications, A well-chosen home unit delivers comparable results provided it is used regularly. Tracking progress is simple. Monthly memory and recall tests can provide objective feedback, while subjective changes, such as reduced brain fog or greater ease in conversation, offer additional confirmation. Those who combine red light therapy with other lifestyle changes often find that the effects build on each other over time. Recent research is exploring whether combining different wavelengths, such as 660 nanometers with 810 nanometers near-infrared, may further improve outcomes. Pulsed light protocols are also being studied for their potential to enhance absorption and cellular response. For now, current devices already provide a practical, low-risk way to support memory, focus, and processing speed. Over a 30-day period, most users can evaluate their individual response. More than 80% of people report measurable cognitive improvements after 1 month of proper use, with many choosing to continue therapy as part of a broader brain health routine. The cost, convenience, and durability of red light devices make them an accessible addition to daily life. Sessions can be integrated into existing routines, during meditation, while reading, or as part of a morning ritual, requiring little disruption to established habits. Genetic differences may explain why some individuals see dramatic benefits, while others notice more modest gains. Mitochondrial DNA variants can influence how efficiently cells respond to light. Still, even those who do not experience dramatic changes tend to outperform placebo groups in controlled studies. Red light therapy stands out for its simplicity and the fundamental way it supports neural energetics. It does not target a single neurotransmitter or brain chemical, but instead enhances the cellular machinery underlying all cognitive processes. This upstream approach explains its broad-spectrum benefits and its appeal for those seeking to maintain or improve memory, focus, and processing speed as they age. As more people look to practical strategies for maintaining cognitive health, attention is also turning to the everyday products and packaging that can quietly undermine these gains. BPA brain siege. BPA, or bisphenol A, has become a persistent presence in food packaging and daily life, and its neurological effects are now coming into clearer focus. In 2025, a study reported that consuming a single serving of canned soup resulted in a 1,000% spike in BPA levels in participants' bloodstreams. This surge was traced to BPA leaching into food during the canning process, especially when heat is involved. The resulting exposure doesn't dissipate quickly. Levels remain elevated for hours, impacting multiple biological systems. Workers who rely on canned soup for lunch each day accumulate BPA at 5 times the rate of colleagues who bring meals in glass containers. The reason BPA is such a concern is its ability to mimic estrogen. Structurally similar to this hormone, BPA binds to estrogen receptors and either blocks or activates them at inappropriate times. This disruption has downstream effects on neurotransmitter systems, particularly those involving serotonin and dopamine. In children, higher BPA exposure is linked with nearly 20% more difficulties in emotional regulation compared to peers with lower exposure. For adults, measurable differences show up in stress response, cognitive flexibility, and performance on executive function tests. Looking across generations, the burden of BPA exposure has increased steadily. Blood samples from baby boomers in middle age averaged just over 2 ng/ml. Gen Xers reached more than double that, and millennials now average close to 9 ng/ml, with regular canned food consumers sometimes exceeding 15 ng/ml. These rising levels reflect both changes in food manufacturing and a shift toward more processed, packaged meals. The cognitive impact is not subtle. Office workers with higher BPA exposure perform significantly worse on complex problem-solving tasks, about 20% lower than colleagues with minimal exposure. Memory recall also suffers, with the high BPA group recalling 15% fewer details in standardized tests. Reaction times slow by measurable margins, which can be consequential in professions that demand quick thinking. These differences persist even after accounting for other lifestyle factors, pointing to a direct neurological effect. BPA exposure is not limited to food. Retail workers who handle thermal paper receipts are exposed through the skin, bypassing digestive barriers. Cashiers and grocery store employees often show BPA concentrations similar to those of people who eat canned foods daily. The skin absorption route is efficient, and repeated contact can keep BPA levels chronically elevated. Reducing BPA exposure begins with packaging choices. Glass jars and stainless steel containers do not leach chemicals during storage or heating. Tetra Pak cartons are a safer alternative to cans for shelf-stable foods. For drinks, aluminum bottles with BPA-free liners are preferable to plastic. Studies show that switching to these materials can lower BPA blood levels by up to 80% in just a few weeks. Household habits also matter. Plastic containers marked with recycling codes 3 or 7 often contain BPA or its analogs. Heating food in these plastics, especially in the microwave, dramatically increases the amount of BPA that migrates into food. Even dental sealants and some coffee makers with plastic parts contribute to daily intake. Awareness of these sources is essential for effective reduction. Supporting the body's natural elimination of BPA involves dietary and lifestyle strategies. Cruciferous vegetables provide sulforaphane, which helps activate liver enzymes responsible for detoxification. A high-fiber diet facilitates the removal of BPA through the digestive tract, and staying well-hydrated assists in flushing metabolites. While sauna use can promote excretion through sweat, most BPA is eliminated via urine and stool. Testing for BPA exposure is now more accessible. Home urine kits can track recent BPA intake and help monitor the effectiveness of reduction strategies. For a broader view, blood testing offers a snapshot of total body burden, although it is less commonly used outside clinical settings. Keeping a journal of plastic use and food packaging can help identify hidden sources and guide further changes. A phased approach to exposure reduction is effective. Begin by removing BPA-containing containers, then transition to safer storage options. Replace canned foods with fresh or frozen alternatives and implement protocols for handling receipts, such as wearing gloves or opting for digital receipts. Supporting detoxification with targeted nutrition can help speed the decline in BPA levels. Workplaces can play a significant role. Hospitals that switched from plastic meal trays to stainless steel saw a dramatic drop in employee BPA levels. Office cafeterias that eliminated canned beverages also reported lower exposures. Even simple measures, like providing BPA-free water bottles, have a measurable impact. Dietary shifts reinforce these changes. Organic diets, which minimize plastic packaging and pesticide residues, can reduce BPA intake by half. Emphasizing whole, unprocessed foods has proven more effective than relying solely on supplements. Foods rich in glycine and fermented products further support the body's elimination pathways. Prevention is cost-effective. Investing in BPA-free kitchenware and choosing fresh foods over canned may increase grocery bills slightly, but can help avoid the much higher costs of managing endocrine or cognitive health issues later on. Some insurance providers now offer incentives for verified low BPA lifestyles, recognizing the potential for long-term health savings. Genetic differences influence how individuals process and eliminate BPA. Some people metabolize BPA more slowly due to variations in liver enzymes, making them more susceptible to its effects. For these individuals, stricter avoidance is especially important. The shift toward BPA-free labels has introduced new chemicals like BPS and BPF, but emerging evidence suggests they may pose similar risks. The safest approach remains to minimize all plastic contact with food and beverages, rather than relying on replacement chemicals. Monitoring and awareness are key. Keeping track of plastic use, reading product labels, and choosing safer packaging options can collectively reduce exposure. As more is understood about the neurological risks associated with BPA and related compounds, reducing exposure stands out as a practical way to protect brain health. Maintaining this protective environment for the brain relies on more than just avoiding harmful chemicals. The next step is to consider what the brain needs to function at its best, starting with the essential minerals and fluids that keep neural signaling sharp and energy levels steady. Electrolyte cognition. Electrolyte cognition is a topic that often gets lost among more exotic brain health interventions, but the evidence for its impact is clear. A 2025 study found that athletes with well-balanced electrolyte levels performed 18% better on cognitive tests than their peers with imbalances. The effect showed up most during decision-making drills that required quick thinking and adaptability. Electrolytes, mainly sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, are the ions that enable neurons to fire and reset efficiently. Even minor deviations in their concentrations slow down neural transmission, leading to measurable delays in reaction time and mental processing. This isn't just a concern for athletes. In academic settings, students who received electrolyte supplements during exams completed recall tasks 23% faster than those who drank only water. Air traffic controllers on night shifts made 40% fewer errors when they switched from coffee to balanced electrolyte drinks. These improvements align with basic neuroscience. Neurons rely on the precise movement of ions to transmit signals. When electrolyte levels are optimal, the brain operates like a high-speed data network. When they're off, even slightly, the system lags. The economics of electrolyte optimization are straightforward. A month's supply of basic electrolyte powder costs less than $15, while high-end energy drinks or brain beverages can be 3 to 4 times more expensive. Simple homemade solutions, water, a pinch of sea salt, and a squeeze of citrus, cover most needs at a fraction of the cost. The simplicity of the approach doesn't diminish its effectiveness. Electrolytes play distinct roles in the brain's electrical system. Sodium acts as the primary trigger for neuron firing. Potassium resets the cell membrane after each signal. Calcium is essential for neurotransmitter release, and magnesium acts as a modulator, preventing overexcitation. These minerals must remain in balance. Too much sodium without enough potassium leads to cramping and sluggishness, while low magnesium can amplify stress and hinder focus. Daily requirements depend on activity, climate, and individual physiology. Sedentary adults need about 2,000 mg sodium, 3,500 mg potassium, and 400 mg magnesium per day. Athletes and those in hot environments often require more, especially if they sweat heavily. Calcium needs are steadier, typically around 1,000 to 1,200 mg per day. The key is not just hitting these numbers, but maintaining proportion. Imbalances create problems even if total intake seems adequate. Food sources can meet baseline needs, but they have limitations. Bananas, avocados, leafy greens, and coconut water provide potassium and magnesium, but tend to be low in sodium and calcium. For those who exercise intensely or work in air-conditioned offices, supplements or electrolyte-rich drinks can help fill the gaps. Coconut water, while popular, is often too low in sodium for recovery after heavy sweating, so combining it with a pinch of salt improves its effectiveness. Hydration status is more than just drinking water. Sweat rate, urine color, and morning body weight are useful indicators, but newer tools, like sweat patches and saliva tests, offer more precise feedback. For most people, drinking water with added electrolytes upon waking, before and after exercise, and during periods of mental strain helps maintain optimal cognitive function. Electrolyte balance also enhances the effects of other brain-supporting nutrients. Taking creatine with a sodium-containing drink increases its uptake. Omega-3 absorption improves when paired with magnesium-rich meals. Even caffeine's benefits are more consistent when electrolytes are in balance, as they help counteract its dehydrating effects. Office workers face unique challenges. Air conditioning can lead to subtle dehydration, even without visible sweating. Cognitive work increases sodium turnover, and stress accelerates magnesium loss. Regularly sipping electrolyte-enhanced water throughout the day can help prevent the mid-afternoon energy slump that many people attribute to low blood sugar or lack of caffeine. Testing and adjusting intake is straightforward. Blood panels can reveal sodium, potassium, and magnesium status, but most people benefit from simple trial and error, adjusting intake until brain fog lifts and focus improves. The goal is sustainable performance, not perfection. Electrolyte needs change with age and health status. Older adults are more sensitive to dehydration and may have reduced thirst cues. Certain medications and medical conditions require tailored approaches, but the principle remains. Optimizing electrolyte levels supports sharper thinking and steadier energy. In practice, a basic routine might include water with a pinch of sea salt and lemon in the morning, an electrolyte drink before or after exercise, and magnesium-rich mineral water in the evening. Adjustments can be made for climate, activity, and individual response. While electrolyte balance is a fundamental step, it's often overlooked in favor of more complex or expensive interventions. Yet, restoring this basic mineral mix can deliver immediate cognitive benefits. As the demands on our brains continue to grow, ensuring the right ionic environment is a practical way to support mental clarity and sustained performance. With the groundwork of electrolyte optimization in place, it becomes possible to integrate a range of evidence-based protocols into a cohesive plan, one that systematically upgrades brain function over time. Futureproof protocol. Building a protocol that actually supports long-term brain health means focusing on the essentials and layering interventions for compounding benefit. The Futureproof protocol is structured to correct the most common deficiencies, introduce proven lifestyle upgrades, and allow for gradual personalization. It's not about adopting every new trend, but about stacking the fundamentals in a way that delivers steady cognitive returns. The plan begins with the basics, correcting vitamin D and magnesium levels, switching to filtered water in glass or stainless steel, and addressing essential fatty acids. These steps resolve the most widespread gaps and set a foundation for everything that follows. A daily dose of 5,000 IU vitamin D3 with breakfast, 400 mg magnesium glycinate at night, and an omega-3 supplement or 2 servings of fatty fish per week covers the starting line. Early improvements typically show up as better sleep and steadier mood within 2 weeks. Exercise enters next, with a focus on the Norwegian 4x4 interval protocol. 4 sessions per week, each less than 40 minutes, stimulate hippocampal growth and cardiovascular resilience. For those pressed for time, even 2 sessions offer noticeable benefits. Creatine supplementation, 5 grams daily, pairs well here, supporting both physical and cognitive performance. In clinical comparisons, this combination improves processing speed and working memory more than either intervention alone. Sauna sessions are added as resources and access allow. 3 weekly sessions at 160-180 degrees F, 15 to 20 minutes each, drive up heat shock proteins and support vascular health. Many notice improved sleep and mental clarity soon after introducing regular sauna use. For those without access, hot baths or contrast showers can provide some of the same physiological effects. Red light therapy is an optional upgrade, especially for those interested in memory and executive function. 3 sessions per week, using a device at 650-670 nanometers, can be slotted in after exercise or sauna. The cost is higher up front, but the durability and ease of home use make it a practical addition for many. The main benefit is enhanced mitochondrial function in key brain regions, which translates to sharper recall and faster information processing. Dietary adjustments focus on minimizing ultra-processed foods, reducing exposure to BPA and microplastics, and cycling carbohydrates to support metabolic flexibility. For those with the bandwidth, a ketogenic phase or intermittent fasting can further boost neuroplasticity and energy stability. The protocol emphasizes whole foods, high in micronutrients and healthy fats, and encourages swapping canned or plastic-packaged foods for fresh or frozen alternatives. Electrolyte balance is maintained through a combination of mineral-rich foods, a pinch of sea salt in morning water, and targeted supplementation as needed. This supports neural signaling and prevents the subtle brain fog that often accompanies dehydration or mineral loss from exercise and sauna. Tracking progress makes the protocol sustainable. Monthly cognitive self-tests, basic blood markers, and subjective notes on mood and focus help identify what's working and where to adjust. For those wanting more detail, tools like the NIH Toolbox Cognition Battery or home testing kits for omega-3 index and vitamin D provide concrete data. The idea is to create a feedback loop, see the improvements, refine the plan, and maintain motivation. Customization is encouraged at every stage. Vegetarians substitute algae-based omega-3s, shift workers adjust light exposure timing, and those sensitive to heat can increase aerobic exercise in place of sauna. The protocol isn't rigid. It's a framework that adapts to personal needs, preferences, and constraints. Even the most basic version, addressing core deficiencies and adding regular movement, delivers significant gains. Each additional layer, from sauna to red light to advanced tracking, adds incremental benefit. Financial accessibility is built in. The essentials, vitamin D, magnesium, omega-3s, and filtered water, cost less than most coffee habits. Exercise and sunlight are free. Even with upgrades, the full protocol costs less annually than a typical pharmaceutical approach. The investment is in consistency, not in expensive or exotic products. Troubleshooting is straightforward. If sleep suffers, magnesium timing or dose is adjusted. If headaches appear with sauna use, hydration and electrolyte intake are reviewed. Adjustments are made gradually, and only one change is introduced at a time to ensure the body adapts smoothly. The protocol is designed to evolve. As new evidence emerges, individual elements can be updated without abandoning the core structure. The focus remains on sustainable, evidence-based practices that support cognitive function and resilience over time. With the groundwork laid and a system in place for ongoing refinement, the path forward is clear. The cost of inaction is steep, but the tools for prevention are accessible and practical. What matters most is starting and keeping the brain's future in focus. When it comes to protecting your brain, the evidence is straightforward. Small, consistent lifestyle changes matter. Research like the Pointer study confirms that diet, movement, and targeted routines can measurably slow cognitive decline and improve mental sharpness, even in later decades of life. These interventions are accessible and cost-effective. For less than the price of a daily coffee, you can support your brain's resilience with sunlight, magnesium, and other practical steps. The cumulative effect of these choices is significant. Minor adjustments today can yield lasting benefits for memory, focus, and long-term health. Deciding to act now is a practical investment in your future cognitive well-being.